Hey, my name is Ian Westerman. I'm the head pro at EssentialTennis.com, where it's our mission to bring passionate instruction to passionate tennis players just like you. Today we're going to be tackling an interesting topic in episode number 52 of Ask Ian. This is actually going to be in response to a comment that Philip left on YouTube. And this particular comment was part of an argument back and forth between Philip and somebody else. And they were discussing the pros and cons of gear technology, whether or not it really matters, or whether or not something you should be focusing on and it is a big deal. So let me kind of read a segment of this, and then we're going to jump into it. I'm going to tell you what, in my opinion, are the 3 gear-related things that you should be paying attention to, that you need to dial in. And basically everything else, in my opinion, doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. And you'll see what those things are. So from Philip here, and kind of picking off here, rather picking up in the middle of a comment. If what you're saying is true, then I could go out on a tennis court in cowboy boots and a racket made of beechwood and strings made of shoelaces, and when I perform badly, it would just be my fault. That's silly. Are you also suggesting that the performance tests that have been done on these types of different strings and tension strengths are marketing scams and they're guilty of fraud? That they're taking advantage of players by selling them items that do absolutely nothing to help them? That's also silly. There's a matter of personal skill involved, which I agree with, but there's also a real consequence of having good or bad gear when you play. Okay, all right, so let's talk about this. I like the extreme example, just obviously tongue-in-cheek by Philip, the cowboy boots. I mean, on one hand, yes, that is one extreme side of the equation, example of picking things that aren't even designed for tennis. Obviously, he was exaggerating there. But that being said, what Philip said, yes, it's an exaggeration, but I've won a tennis match with a frying pan before. Now, granted, the player that I beat was not at my same level of play, but I'm just saying, okay? I would use that as a case in point to say that technique and your physical skills, your abilities, are more important than gear. Now, am I saying that what gear you use doesn't matter? No, I wouldn't say that. However, it's my personal opinion that your skills and technique and ability as a player are much, much more important than the actual gear that you use, especially once we get to a certain quality of gear, which basically anything made in the last, man, might get myself into trouble here. Any racket made within the last 10 years is going to be a quality racket. Now, just because it's made in the last 10 years doesn't mean it's the racket you should be using, which brings me to my 3 points that you should be paying attention to. I want to check my notes here, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So, what does matter? What matters equipment-wise? First of all, you need to find the right racket size, weight, and balance for you. Those things matter. And by size, I mean the size of the head, whether or not it's a mid-size or oversized, etc., etc. The weight of the racket is important, whether or not it's a lighter racket, in the middle, or heavy. And the balance of the racket matters as well, whether or not there's more weight in the head or in the handle, or it's kind of evenly balanced. Those 3 things are important, the overall kind of specifications of the racket. Now, what could be right for you could be totally different for somebody else. So you need to demo and try rackets, especially if you're getting ready to change rackets. Demo a ton and experiment, see what feels good, see what feels bad. There's a lot of great demo programs out there, even online ones, where they send you all the rackets you want to try. You try them out, and then they give you a box to send them all back in. So the racket specifications are important. You should be paying attention to that. The type of string is important. Polyester, synthetic gut, or natural. You should be trying those as well. Try them out. It can be a little bit expensive to go from string to string to string, but if you take your tennis seriously and you want to find what works best for you, you have to try lots of different things and narrow it down and make small changes once you get in the ballpark and find out what feels the best to you. And then lastly, find the right string tension for you. So racket dimensions, weight, balance, size, string type, polyester, synthetic gut, or natural gut. And then lastly, I just forgot the third one. What was the third one? Tension, string tension. Again, tension can vary widely from, I used to play at 62, 63 pounds in college. Now I'm down in the mid 50s. There's professional players that play in the high 40s with their string tension. So a huge range. Again, experiment when it comes to those three important things. Now, last kind of point here, how about technologies, right? Like every 2-3 years, all the big manufacturers update their technology. In my opinion, not important. Not important at all. If you're playing with a racket made by one of the main manufacturers, Head, Prince, Wilson, Babolat, those are the big four, and it's a frame that you didn't get at Walmart for $19.95. It was $100 or more, and you've done your homework, you've done your research, and you know the specs that work best for you and what feels best for you. Does it need to be the newest, latest, greatest technology? No, it doesn't have to be. Quite frankly, the technologies are not everything that the marketing of those companies are cracked up to be, in my opinion. There's going to be some debate about this, so there's no doubt about it. I've never been one to buy into the technology stuff and updates to equipment in general. If there's like 6 edges to your string instead of 5, is that going to give you a bunch more topspin? No. Could it make a small, tiny difference? Maybe, but your swing path needs to be a topspin swing path or you'll never make topspin. So just because a string was supposedly designed with topspin in mind, and it may have been legitimately, does not mean that it's going to give you more topspin. At the end of the day, the swing path, the technique that you use ultimately is much more important. It's not that these different types of string and racket can't make a difference, but at the end of the day, it's personal preference, and you need to do your homework and try as many as possible to find out what works best for you as a player. Just some quick kind of off-the-cuff comments here. If you have any response to this, I'd love to hear it. Leave it in the comments down below. I'm sure there's going to be at least a little bit of controversy around at least a couple of the things that I just said. This is a topic that generally I don't like to address in my videos, but thought I'd put some thoughts out there kind of for the first time, having to do with gear. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and click like. As I said, leave any comments or questions down below. If you have any other topics that you'd like me to cover in a future episode of Ask Ian, leave those down below as well. And with that, I'll sign off for today. Thanks for watching, take care, and good luck with your tennis. For hundreds of free digital tennis lessons, head over to essentialtennis.com right now. More wins and more fun on the court is right around the corner. You'll even get a free gift just for stopping by. Simply click the link at the top of any page.